For the 6th episode in the series Tortoises of the World, the Tortoises Refuge team is taking you to French Guiana. Situated northeast of South America, between Suriname and Brazil, Guyana occupies a surface area of 84,000 square metres, 90% being covered by tropical rainforest. A true haven of biodiversity, this European enclave is one of the natural wonders of the world. However, Guyana is not only identified by its natural and exceptional diverse heritage, it's equally notable for its history closely linked to penal colonies, rich and varied cultural activities, such as the spectacular carnivals, not forgetting its leading role in spatial conquest, thanks to Kourou's Space Centre with the symbolic Ariane rocket. So let's go and discover the 10 species of tortoises and turtles that live in French Guiana. Leaving Toulouse the previous evening, the team, Jérome, Christophe, Frédéric and Johan, board the plane at Paris-Orly Airport. The flight takes a little over 9 hours to cover the 7,000 kilometres from the French capital to Cayenne. Here the humidity, change of time zone and air temperature, is quite a shock in early January. From 3 degrees in Paris to 28 degrees when the naturalists disembarked the aeroplane. However, this, and the deluge of rain, doesn't affect their enthusiasm to explore. They set out the next morning with driver Tony Chevalier, who is in charge of logistics, on the coast road towards the town of Irakubo. This route runs through magnificent wooded plains, and it's in this specific environment that one of the 2 types of Guyanese tortoises survives, the red-footed tortoise. Its carapace is a dark brown to charcoal colour, broken up by lighter areolas. In Guyana, it's to be found exclusively on the coastal plains, and is active in the morning or evening, and preferably during or after rainfall. The red-footed tortoise can attain 50 centimetres in length and has a varied diet composed of animal carcasses, invertebrates, larvae, plants, and as we see here, fallen fruit. A mango is a well-deserved reward for this tortoise, who seems to have an excellent appetite. It's rare to observe a red-footed tortoise in its natural habitat, and even more unusual to find a youngster whose main concern in life is to be unnoticeable. Indeed, its small size makes it a first choice for predators that are continually on the lookout, like this white hawk who seems to be most attentive. In this rainy season, the spot-legged turtle is on the move in these partly flooded savannas. It's without doubt the most common turtle in Guyana, and is present in all the available areas: forests, savannas, rivers, waterlogged ditches, and flooded plains. An adult measures 20 centimetres and has a clearly domed, smooth carapace. The head colour is its most remarkable trait, black with lines or smears from yellow through orange to bright red. The spot-legged turtle is as agile on land as in water. Omnivorous, it eats everything it finds on its way. Snails, insects, worms and carcasses are all on its daily menu. During the rainy season, it's not unusual to observe the youngsters on an open track or crossing a road. A young spot-legged turtle has a rough and very flat carapace. Arriving at the edge of the Iracubo River, it's time for the team to unload their equipment and launch the boats. Now we can start our upriver journey. The adventure begins. The fragile aluminium hull snakes through the middle of the dense, impenetrable forest. All the teams scrutinise this new environment in the hope of detecting some animal presence. Some curious squirrel monkeys make us aware of their presence in the trees that border the river. This little monkey is common in Guyana. Its fur is grey to olive green with shades of black and gold. After more than 2 hours of navigation, the camp is in sight. This shelter sunk in the middle of the forest will be our living quarters for the next 2 days. Far from any human disruption, we hope to surprise a maximum of wild reptiles. But for the moment, we're installing our hammocks. Night has fallen and we're back in our boats. By the light of our headlamps, we attempt to locate the nocturnal snakes positioned on the low branches overhanging the sleeping river. It doesn't take us long to find and capture our first garden tree boa. Jérome is careful, as even though this species is not dangerous to man, it nonetheless has very sharp teeth that could leave an imprudent observer with a painful memory. Further on, we decide to make a halt and explore the surrounding forest. This is where we meet our first white-toed tarantula, which in fact is very common all over the Guyanese territory. It even roams into houses where it makes its nest and proves to be a precious help by eating a multitude of insects. This beautiful black spider with metallic blue reflex and orange-tipped legs can measure up to 15 centimetres in diameter. It isn't aggressive or dangerous, although its bite is painful. Its patience has no limit. It waits motionless for a passing insect in order to inflict a mortal bite to the throat. We leave the spider to finish its meal and plunge deeper into the forest. By the side of a small creek, we come face to face with a smooth-fronted caiman. This species, that can grow up to 2.60 metres in length, lives mainly in forest waterways. Wary by nature, it comes out only at night to hunt fish, turtles and other small mammals on which it feeds. Its leathery aspect, long scaly tail, big menacing eyes and wide open mouth with sharp little teeth give it the appearance of a living dinosaur. The smooth-fronted caiman announces clearly the name of the game and seems to tell us, "Careful, I'm not big enough to eat you, but I'm tenacious enough to give you a good bite." We get the message and continue our explorations. By chance, it's not long before we see a snake well known in this part of the world, the green anaconda. For sure, the one we have discovered is a yearling whose length doesn't exceed 80 centimetres. Nothing compared to its measurements on reaching adulthood, between 5 and 7 metres and weighing more than 100 kilos. earning it great respect by all the other inhabitants of the forest. Greenish in colour with round black markings, the green anaconda spends the majority of its life in water, although it likes to laze long hours in the sunshine on the riverbank or in the tree foliage. It feeds on birds, mammals and reptiles, including caimans. But for the moment, this young anaconda has nothing to fear from us, and we leave him to return to the depths of his native forest. Having passed a large part of the night in the forest and on the river, we rejoin our campsite for a well-earned rest. The next morning we set off again into the forest. Jérome, followed by Johan and Christophe, advance into this universe dominated by exuberant plants and trees. A brown capuchin monkey, with a facetious expression, looks astonished to cross us in his biotope. We proceed slowly. Our first observations are of a young common green iguana, perched on a branch. Its green colouring allows it to blend into its surroundings to an extent that it isn't easy to spot at first glance. An adult common green iguana measures 1.85 metres in length and is equally at ease in trees or in water, where it proves to be an excellent swimmer. Opportunistic vegetarian, it consumes a very large quantity of plants and fruit, as well as insects and other invertebrates. The area we're exploring is also popular with the garden tree boa that we observed during last night's expedition. In daytime, it stays curled up in a hollow tree trunk or on high branches. We are immediately informed of its arboreal prowess by its general morphology. A stocky squat head, distinct from the rest of its body, which is muscular, lean and fine. It measures up to 1.90 metres, which allows it to pass from branch to branch with disconcerting ease. A non-venomous species, the garden tree boa is very rarely on the ground and prefers the tree canopy as its vital space, where it feels relaxed and secure. It feeds on frogs, birds, rodents and lizards. This boa is astonishing by its variable colour, as remarkable in a newborn as in adulthood. It varies from light brown through beige to yellow-orange. Its skin is marked by designs in the form of diamonds or dark circles, found from the vertebral line down to its sides. It's an extremely beautiful snake, capable of acrobatic skills to take your breath away. It's high time for Jérome to plunge into the coloured waters of a very promising creek. In this typical forest waterway, after some hours of methodical searching, our naturalist captures a common toad-headed turtle. This species occupies a reduced zone from Guyana to the extreme northeast of Brazil in the Amapá state. It's a medium-sized turtle that grows to 32 centimetres in length. It frequents rivers, creeks and forest streams, poor in water plants but rich in fish, shrimps and crabs, from which it feeds, including any fallen fruit. The common toad-headed turtle is extremely discreet, and observing one is something of a miracle. Its large head with two big round eyes and large mouth give it a friendly appearance. The back of its soft parts and carapace are almost black. This allows it to match its discretion with an efficient camouflage costume. Further on, in another creek, Jérome captures a small black turtle. This is a gibber turtle, which is found across the waterways of the Amazon and the Orinoco from Venezuela to northeast Brazil, including the island of Trinidad. Measuring up to 23 centimetres in length, the gibber turtle is present in ponds, canals and river branches. Equally at ease in open ground or forest and clear or muddy waters. And in French Guiana, it's common in coastal swamps. It feeds on water invertebrates, snails, mudworms, and generally speaking, everything that falls into its mouth. A small, discreet turtle with a flat shell, it expresses a foul odour when disturbed, thus allowing it to escape without further question. We leave the Refuge River behind us and head west, where an old acquaintance is waiting for us. In 1992, on the Hatteras Beach, a renowned nesting place for leatherback tortoises, Jérome met a teacher from St. Laurent de Maroni, Georges Legracier. An interesting meeting indeed, just like the life of this Briton, resident in French Guiana since 1985, with a passion for cacti, tortoises and turtles. Georges Legracier has loved turtles ever since his childhood, and has never stopped observing, breeding and discovering them during his trips around the world. In the early 1980s, he was transferred to French Guiana to teach. He became aware of the animal and plant life fusion in the tropical forest, but also, and above all, the dozens of species of tortoises that occupied this part of the world. The years passed and George continued his quest, breeding more and more species of tortoises from Guyana and elsewhere, up to a point where he has become one of the most knowledgeable people on this subject. In 1996, he published a book together with his friend Sébastien Métraillé. In the region of Mana, he is still busy with his breeding farm that counts no less than 350 tortoises of 60 different species. Georges Legracier is one of those rare people who have dedicated their existence and passion in pursuing their objective, to learn, to understand and to transmit. Just like the Guyanese tortoises, George has always understood that discretion guarantees tranquility.
Très remarquable avec sa couleur noire et ses taches jaunes blanchâtres. Et donc c'est une tortue de leur...
Not far from George's water tanks, Jérome is exploring the edge of the forest in the hope of surprising some timid snakes. A piece of corrugated tin arouses his interest, as snakes often hide underneath. And indeed, a superb common lancehead is curled up in the middle. This snake belongs to the viper family, amongst which are numerous deadly species. Therefore, its manipulation is delicate, as the slightest error is sanctioned by a sharp bite. Its very poisonous venom can result in debilitating wounds, or in certain cases the death of its victim. Its colouring varies from grey to almost dark brown with dark patches and geometrical designs in a simple or reversed V form. The tip of its tail is yellow to white, and its triangular head is clearly distinct from its body. It grows to an exceptional 1.5 metres in size, although the majority of specimens found are not more than 90 centimetres. The common lancehead is nocturnal. It waits curled up, fully aware of any passing rodents, birds, lizards, snakes and frogs on which to feed. It is found everywhere in French Guiana and doesn't hesitate to enter human quarters in search of amphibians or rodents. This promiscuity with man considerably increases the risk of poisoning. And amongst all the venomous snakes in Guyana, the common lancehead is responsible for the largest number of incidents. Of all the negative pictures associated with Guyana, that of a deadly snake attack is one of the most tenacious. Nonetheless, only 20% of the snakes found in all of the areas are potentially dangerous to man. In other words, the common lancehead, even with its bad reputation, deserves to be respected. That's certainly not the opinion of this red-rumped agouti, a common rodent in Guyana, who prefers to keep his distance from the unpopular ophidy. We leave George and his tortoises and return to Cayenne, where more adventures await us. On the way beside a flooded field, we discover an Amazon mud turtle. Its scientific name, Kinosternum scorpioides, makes reference to the shape of the male's backbone that resembles a scorpion's tail. The Amazon mud turtle lives in aquatic areas with a slight current or in stagnant water spread over the coastal region. It's common in ponds, canals, ditches and flooded land, but also ventures into forests. It has an elongated oval and domed carapace, marked with 3 vertical curves, and its colouring varies from black through yellow to beige. Its large head ends with a hooked beak, and it grows to a maximum length of 19 centimetres. This turtle is at ease only in water, and it likes boggy places encumbered by tree trunks, beds of aquatic plants, or heaps of decomposing vegetation. Whilst it appears slow and awkward on hard ground, it is agile and fast in water, ready to escape any menacing predator. It feeds on snails, cracking the shell with its strong jaws, but also appreciates fish, shrimps and other vertebrates. Upon our return to Cayenne that evening, we participate in a soirée dedicated to the observation of insects. Sylvain and Bernard, 2 keen naturalists, have installed a large white sheet illuminated by 2 strong lamps by the side of a forest track. This ingenious dispositive attracts a large number of insects, notably moths, that land excitedly on this painless trap. It's an opportunity for Sylvain to show Tony the extraordinary biodiversity that exists in the tropical forest. We are watching a festival of shapes and colours that bear witness to the creative force of Mother Nature. The team make the most of this occasion to explore the neighbouring forest. And it seems the evening is not just about the winged creatures, but also those with scaly or smooth skin. Nearby, on the ground, we find a small, brightly coloured snake with alternate irregular orangey red and black rings. It's a coral cylinder snake. This species grows to 1 metre, and its particular morphology justifies its other name, snake with 2 heads. For at first glance, the localisation of its head is not at all evident. It has 2 minuscule eyes, and its mouth is so small that it can't bite, or only very slightly. Without doubt, this snake is exceptional. Its bright colour, normally reserved for venomous snakes, gives a direct message to eventual predators: beware, I'm dangerous. However, the coral cylinder snake is strictly inoffensive, except to its own kind, as it is in fact ophiophage, meaning that it consumes other snakes without hesitation, as well as lizards, eels and other amphibians. In the darkness of night, the forest reveals little by little its mysterious inhabitants. An enormous frog, solidly anchored on a branch, seems even more astonished than the naturalist observing it. With its impressive body, the giant gladiator tree frog is the largest in Guyana. It measures a dozen centimetres in adulthood, and its colouring allows it to blend perfectly into its surroundings. It has a round muzzle with big bulging eyes, marked with an orangey-yellow iris. Strong front and hind legs, ending in palmed feet and toes. It is common in French Guiana all along the forest waterways. A few metres further on, we uncover a very tiny brown-banded water snake. It's a youngster belonging to the Helicops ungulatus species. This ophidon, who will grow to 1 metre in length, is active mainly at night. His eyes and nose positioned high up on his head clearly confirm his aquatic habits. In French Guiana, this inoffensive species likes swamps and coastal waters. Our attention is diverted by the presence of an adult female South American common toad with a particular morphology. A trunk-shaped muzzle, 2 big eyes marked with a slightly golden iris, all of which are framed by 2 large prominent crests, similar to oversized ears, whose function hasn't yet been explained by scientists. Eight centimetres in length, this toad likes the forest undergrowth where it moves about day and night, preferably in wet weather. We're proceeding alongside a forest waterway when we're enchanted to see a tiny multicoloured tree frog. This elegant creature is actually a tiger-striped leaf frog. Its general leafy green colour has black-lined orange flanks, and it measures more than 5 centimetres. The tiger-striped leaf frog has nocturnal habits and is found in the primary forest throughout Guyana. Further along our exploratory path, a tiny snake turns up at our eventful soiree. As we approach, this beautiful reddish-brown crowned false boa coils up its body and shyly pokes out its dark head. This species grows up to 90 centimetres and adapts to wherever it roams at night, primary and secondary forests or plains and cultivated zones, feeding on lizards, rodents, snakes and eels. It's getting late and time for us to return to our vehicles. However, this evening has most certainly not finished to surprise us, for we come face to face, or rather face to horn, with a most spectacular amphibian, the aptly named Suriname horned frog. It can't be confused with any other amphibian in French Guiana. This big mouth on feet makes us aware of its fierce appetite. Every unexpected meeting is a chance to feast, gobbling down everything that passes its strong jaws. Invertebrates, amphibians and reptiles, including snakes and rodents, are all prey susceptible of satisfying its huge appetite. Even with its protective colouring, varying from brown to green through light brown to beige, the Suriname horned frog is not difficult to observe. During heavy rainfall, the males and females abruptly gather together in number around ponds and flooded areas. This explosive reproduction is short-lived. Then they spread out at random across the tropical forest. Sedentary, the Suriname horned frog spends most of its life hidden or poised at the entrance to its burrow. A word of warning: his friendly demeanour must not allow one to forget his short-tempered and audacious character. Too much disturbance, and this tropical Pac-Man won't hesitate an instant to bite you. The summer night was short, and the next day the team are on their way to the village of Cacao. This village, named after an old plantation, is inhabited by the Hmongs, who came from Laos at the end of the 1970s. Hard workers and determined, the Hmongs made cacao the leading vegetables provider in Guyana. It is also a well-known tourist attraction thanks to a lively Sunday market. Carefully laid out on trestle tables, we find fruit and vegetables, woven and embroidered fabrics, and also delicious Asian culinary specialities. Situated right next to the market, we visit with great interest the Planeur Bleu, Museum of Entomology. This building, created by Philippe Sola, a dedicated teacher, allows visitors to discover the insects and spiders of Guyana. Philippe Sola and his team communicate their love of nature with strong conviction.
À côté, vous avez une famille de tout petits papillons guyanais, les lycénidés, qui ont la particularité d'avoir tous des petites queues à l'arrière des ailes. Et bien, ces petites queues sont un moyen pour eux de faire croire aux oiseaux, leurs prédateurs, que les antennes et la tête se trouvent à l'arrière de l'animal. Et souvent, on les retrouve amputés de leurs ailes postérieures parce qu'ils ont réussi à leurrer les oiseaux en les attirant finalement sur une partie non vitale de leur corps. C'est un moyen pour eux d'avoir un sursis.
However, the main reason for our visit to Cacao is neither touristic nor culinary. We have a meeting with Major Ruel, commander of the Cacao Police Force. In October 2017, Major Ruel and his police colleagues intercepted some poachers on the River Conte, who were in possession of more than 1,000 eggs belonging to the biggest turtle in Guyana, the yellow-spotted river turtle, or Podocnemis uniphilis for the specialists. The eggs were handed over to Georges Legracier and Tony Chevalier, who then placed them in incubators in the hope of saving some. We questioned Major Ruel on the circumstances of this uncommon intervention.
Donc je crois que c'est le 5 octobre, mais c'est courant octobre 2017. Nous sommes en patrouille fluviale sur le fleuve la Comté, la Haute-Comté en fait. On allait en direction de Bélizon. Lorsqu'on arrive au niveau du carbet des protestants, nous sommes amenés à croiser une pirogue avec 3 individus à bord. Nous procédons à leur contrôle sur la législation du permis, etc. Et on s'aperçoit qu'il y a des touques à l'intérieur de la pirogue. On leur demande s'ils n'ont pas des œufs de tortue. Spontanément, les personnes nous ouvrent leurs touques et on constate qu'elles sont remplies d'œufs de tortue. Donc à partir de ce moment-là, on se saisit pour la destruction de nids, l'enlèvement, le transport. Et on procède au comptage des œufs. Il y a 900 œufs de tortues de rivière dans les touques. Donc on saisit non seulement les œufs, ainsi que l'embarcation et le moteur. Et donc une équipe prend en charge les personnes en cause pour les reconduire au dégrade de cacao. D'autres gendarmes restent sur le carbet et quelques temps plus tard, sur le coup de midi, le même jour, une autre pirogue arrive avec 2 individus à bord. Et dans les mêmes circonstances, on procède à leur contrôle et cette fois-ci, ils ont 100 œufs de tortue dans une touque. Donc on procède de la même manière, on procède à la saisie des œufs, de la pirogue et du moteur. Et ensuite, les personnes ont été mises, entendues en qualité de personnes mises en cause et elles sont convoquées pour le mois de mai 2018 au tribunal pour répondre des différentes infractions relevées à leur égard.
Conducted and authorised by Major Ruel, we decided to go up the Conte River and observe the yellow-spotted river turtle in its natural habitat. 2 large canoes belonging to the police force were launched, with all the team on board looking forward to new sightings. Once on the river, our canoes speeded along, and it needed all the expertise and experience of Eric and Joseph, the 2 official pilots, to avoid the floating logs that could at any moment hit our vulnerable craft. We're in the midst of the rainy season, and the Conte River is very high. The sandbanks that serve as egg-laying nests for the turtles were completely submerged. But this doesn't prevent us from observing around 50 yellow-spotted river turtles sunbathing on half-submerged logs of wood. However, it's impossible to film them as they jump into the water at the slightest warning, and it goes without saying that we're not in the least discreet. The yellow-spotted river turtle measures 46 centimetres for 11 kilos in weight. It lives in a relatively vast area, spread over the Amazon and the Orinoco from Venezuela as far as northeast Bolivia. In French Guiana, it's only present in the east, living in rivers and canals. Identified by an oval, relatively flat and smooth carapace, together with a long head topped by prominent eyes. In this species, the sexual dimorphism is very apparent. The female is clearly bigger and heavier, and generally more dull in colour, whilst the male has a black head with bright yellow marks. The young, like this baby, are visibly yellow on the head and the carapace, whichever their sex. It's mainly active in the day, passing most of its time perched on a tree trunk or on a half-submerged rock. Its diet consists of plants, fruit and seeds that have fallen into the water, as well as fish, insects and crabs. In Guyana, although a protected species, this doesn't prevent it from being sought out by Brazilians and native South Americans for meat and its much appreciated eggs. There wouldn't be a survival problem if this was confined to local consumption, but in recent years this species has been removed, together with its eggs, to satisfy an illegal and profitable business. According to Eric Hedding of the Cacao Police Force, who has been acquainted with the River Comte for decades, the number of these turtles, notably adults, has diminished significantly in the last few years, and poaching is responsible for this worrying constatation. Concerning the capture undertaken by the Cacao Police Force, the 1,000 eggs were destined to be sold at a price of €3 each to the native South Americans and the rich Chinese, a considerable hoard at the expense of the species' survival. For the time being, the efforts of Georges Legracier and Tony Chevalier have been worthwhile. 51 baby turtles were born and will soon be set free in their river of origin, the Comte, from which they never should have left in the first place. After a well-deserved rest day, we resume our naturalist investigations that lead us this time in the direction of the Coe Swamp. We stop at the roadside to contemplate an immense spider's web that extends over dozens of square metres, covering a number of trees and bushes. It's the collective work of a colony of social spiders, each only measuring 5 millimetres, who altogether are capable of skillfully shaping this silky structure of over 100 cubic metres in volume. These tiny spiders must have team spirit built into their 8 little furry legs. We make the most of this halt to explore the undergrowth. Our attention is drawn to a rocky outcrop, and in its midst we discover a cave of substantial proportions. We position ourselves at several strategic points in the hope of surprising an inmate, who is rare and mythological, the Guianan cock of the rock. Some birds pass overhead, when suddenly a flash cuts through the air. It's not an illusion, for it is indeed a male Guianan cock of the rock that has just landed on a low branch facing us. This bird, measuring around 30 centimetres, lives uniquely in the forest in the vicinity of caves, screes and rocky crevices, in which the female builds her nest and rears her young. The male, bright orange in colour, has a spiky crest permanently on his head. Even though his plumage is exceptional, finding and observing him is difficult, as he roams around in the undergrowth amongst contrasting light and shadow. His evident beauty is not exaggerated coquetry. His colours, in sharp contrast with the darkness in which he has evolved, have a double role. They allow him to seduce the female, but equally earn the respect of other males that may be potential competitors. The female is entirely brown, which allows her to pass unnoticed, thus assuring the hatching and rearing of her young. We leave behind our respective observations and continue our path. Before long we come across the swaying progress of a South American yellow-footed tortoise. This large species, that reaches 80 centimetres in size, is found from southeast Venezuela to southeast Brazil, with a marked presence through the Amazon. It's one of the most common tortoises in French Guiana, where it can only be found in the primary forests. Its brown carapace has big yellow marks at the centre of its scales, with orangey-yellow marks on its head and feet. Its diet is composed of various types of plants and seeds, fruit, insects, and animal carcasses. The South American yellow-footed tortoise plays an important role in the dissemination of seeds consumed in the fruit it likes to eat. Silent and discreet, it shelters in hollow tree trunks, piles of dead leaves, and flooded areas, becoming active during refreshing rainfall. The female lays 1 to 6 eggs several times a year that hatch after 4 months of incubation. At birth, the young tortoise measures 4 to 5 centimetres. His carapace is soft with serrated marginal scales, no doubt to dissuade eventual predators. Further along the forest track, in a large puddle, another local resident surprises us. Our first twist-necked turtle. This little forest turtle is found in the Amazon, and more precisely from the east of Venezuela to the northeast of Bolivia. In French Guiana, it lives strictly in the forests. The male, slightly bigger than the female, grows to 17.5 centimetres. It has an elliptical carapace with a slight depression at the centre of the vertebral scales. The top of its brown back is marked with large black bars. It has small flat black feet, whilst its head is also black underneath and orange on top. Its flat shape, together with bright and dark colouring, allow it to pass unnoticed in flooded areas, where it blends in amongst the submerged dead leaves. Having nocturnal habits, the twist-necked turtle is active during the rainy season in shallow flooded areas. Thus we are able to find it in the ruts of this forest path, where it is easily detectable. A poor swimmer, it prefers places where the water depth doesn't exceed the thickness of its carapace. It feeds on amphibians' eggs and tadpoles, water insects and little fish. The mating takes place during the rainy season, and the female generally lays 1 egg or rarely 2, which can measure up to 5 centimetres. In the dry season, the twist-necked turtle estivates, burying itself in the forest litter, where it remains for several months. We leave temporarily the large tropical forest in the direction of another wild and astonishing place, the coast swamps. Situated 80 kilometres from Cayenne, the Corora Reserve has a surface area of 94,700 square kilometres, composed of swamps and floating savanna, irrigated by the Angelique Creek and the River Co. It's remarkable by the diversity of its ecosystems, consisting of mangroves, the flooded savanna and tropical forest, and was classified as a nature reserve on the 13th of March 1998. It shelters rare species of birds and mammals, also reptiles like the black caiman, the big-headed Amazon river turtle, and the famous mata-mata turtle. The reserve is only accessible by river. We launch our 2 boats at the Code Jetty and start prospecting in the principal canal that runs alongside the immense floating savannas, across which the zebus try to clear a passage. It's in this black water that lives the rarest turtle in Guyana, the black Amazon river turtle. It's largely spread out in the waters of the Orinoco and the Amazon from Brazil to Venezuela. In French Guiana, its presence, which marks the northern limit of the division, is only known between Cayenne and Co. Whilst often seen in the Amazon region of Brazil, it's rare and localised in Guyana, where it has only been observed 5 times. The big-headed Amazon river turtle has a massive head and oval carapace, which is smooth and rounded. It grows to 50 centimetres in size for 14 kilos in weight, and frequents rivers, canals, lakes, flooded forests, as well as clear and murky waters. Omnivorous, it feeds on seeds, fallen fruit, plants, fish and shellfish. Another turtle with an enigmatic appearance haunts the coast swamps, and although we are very determined, it's going to be difficult to surprise in the middle of the rainy season. It's the mata-mata turtle, which is found essentially in the waters of the Amazon and the Orinoco. A strange animal whose general morphology is a perfect combination of mineral and vegetal. A rough brown carapace which is not too thick, a flat triangular head ending in a tubular nose, tiny eyes and a long, strong neck decorated with finely cut growths. Judging by its appearance, the mata-mata turtle is without doubt the king of camouflage. In the coast swamps, it's happy in the shallow, murky waters, containing dense plant life. In its unusual but efficient camouflage suit, the mata-mata has opted for an economic strategy in terms of energy. It lives immobile, simply waiting and on the lookout for any imprudent passing fish. We're searching at the base of the Muku Muku Hills, for in the dry season when the water rises, this is where it likes to wait to surprise its future prey. However, we're now in the rainy season and the water level is very high, making observation of the mata-mata turtles almost impossible. Only a rare and protected crocodile tegu allows us a glimpse. We leave the swamps at the end of the day and decide to explore the Ko Mountain before nightfall. Our first encounter is a beautiful, brightly coloured, dying poison frog, who is taking in the last few rays of sunshine. In fact, it's a diurnal species, a tiny terrestrial frog, just 4 centimetres long, who is busy in the daytime capturing small appetising invertebrates. The dying poison frog is found throughout the Guianese territory, uniquely in primary forests. It has a special reproductive style. The female lays 3 to 14 eggs on damp leaves in the forest litter. The male protects them until they hatch 2 to 3 weeks later. The tadpoles are then transported by the father into small puddles on the ground or higher up onto epiphyte plants. At nightfall, our torches reveal the magnificent colours of this batracian. Its vernacular name, dying poison frog, comes from a practice still in existence by the Galibi tribe. They rub the frog's skin onto young parrots that have been taken from the nest and half plucked. The feathers then regrow yellow or red. Unfortunately, this manipulation can be fatal to many young birds. Further on, we cross a superb rainbow boa, who is thus named for its beautiful colouring, browny red to orangey red marked with black circles on the back. The most surprising is the iris blue reflex all over its body, and notably after molting. An adult measures 1.90 metres. The rainbow boa explores in primary and secondary forests uniquely at night, feeding on rodents, frogs, lizards, birds and their eggs. Whilst it's a snake that can easily bite when disturbed, it is nonetheless inoffensive to man. A short distance farther, on the ground scattered with dead leaves, Johan discovers an enormous spider that we immediately identify as the renowned Goliath bird-eater, or Pterophosa blondi. In fact, it's the biggest spider in the world, with a 12 centimetres long body and 27 centimetres in diameter with its legs outstretched. Visibly, it doesn't find our presence reassuring, as it suddenly rears up at 45 degrees, taking the weight onto its back legs to exhibit its front legs and its strong, hooked black fangs. This attitude of defence is typical of this species. The Goliath bird-eater spends the day in its den and emerges only at night to hunt insects. When bothered, it energetically scratches the top of its stomach with its back legs, thus projecting sharp hairs at its aggressor. The irritations caused by this defence strategy last several days. It also uses its fangs to inflict a quick though painful nip. Although impressive, the Goliath bird-eater is not considered a dangerous species. It's getting late and time for us to return to our camp. On the way back, we observe the last and one of the most exceptional snakes of our expedition, an emerald tree boa. This splendid, bright leafy green snake with white triangular marks along its back measures 1.95 metres in adulthood. It has a large head and a particularly muscular body with a prehensile tail. The emerald tree boa has nocturnal habits and is completely adapted to life in the trees. Curled up on a branch with its head placed in the middle of its coils, it can stay immobile like this for weeks. It likes to feed on rodents, birds, frogs and lizards. If disturbed, it bites easily, so the imprudent observer must be careful, as this snake possesses very long teeth capable of inflicting painful wounds. It's time for our team to pack their bags and return to the metropole. Our Guyanese experience poses many questions concerning this astounding reservoir of biodiversity. Even though the Earth's tropical forests have lost half of their original surface area, and still to this day are the object of non-stop deforestation, the Guyanese forest is still almost intact. It represents, at the moment, more than 90% of this department. It establishes an exceptional natural patrimony that shelters a biodiversity incomparable with that of countries having a more moderate climate. French Guiana, 7 times smaller than metropolitan France, shelters around 10 times more living species. This voyage of exceptional intensity has allowed us to discover a Guyana which is rich, complex and extremely diversified. For a long time we will cherish the memories of the delightful carnival in Cayenne. Our nocturnal escapades spent tracking the nervous Goliath bird-eater spider and the scintillating emerald tree boa. We won't forget the fusion of life in the coast swamps and the furtive Guianan cock of the rock, the Hmong Sunday market in Cacao, and much more. The legendary green anaconda, the rogue double-headed snake, the Suriname horned frog, also the amiable smile of the common toad-headed turtle. May these living treasures remain on Earth for the longest possible time, to benefit all our future generations.